Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The War Room. I am joined here, Shooter Hunt. I am joined here by the great Dr. David Seifert, who has been bouncing around the Midwest. Hopefully it's warming up. It seems like the weather's kind of turned for you there a little bit, if I'm hearing right.
2 weeks ago was still ugly. Last weekend was better. And then this weekend, I think we're going to be in the 70s here finally to watch a game.
Oh, look at you. Get the
I'll be in Nashville. I'll be in Nashville, so it might be 80, but at least it's going to be 70 up where I live. So
very nice. Well, the weather's heating up, the action's heating up. We have high school action all across the country. Shoot, down south, the playoffs are going. Georgia's going to the playoffs. Alabama, Florida's wrapping up the season. It's insane. Just as in Jersey, there was snow last week. I'm getting ready to head to the Northeast check out some of those arms. But it has been an outstanding spring so far. It's for you, especially, Saib, I think it's been a busy spring trying to decipher who is going to go in the first round, who's going to go in the first two rounds. How do we bring these guys? How do we bring it all together? And it has been for you, especially, I would think, very difficult to separate everybody. What have you so far this spring?
Well, what I've concluded is there's really no, again, not to go on the negative train right away, but there's really not that consensus number one or even number two or number three college guy, right? There's a couple handfuls like, hey, maybe you could not. Like it was Arquette. It was Lavallee early in the year. Now it was kind of Arquette. Jamie Arnold's a good one. There's several others, but it's not, and not every year is the same. Got it. But there's certainly not a Skeens, Cruz, Langford trio. Like, and granted, that's a once every 5 to 7 year thing on the college level, but there's really not anybody that you could throw your arms around and say, yeah, this is our guy at number one. I know last year our guy was Cags. Like, we love Cags.
Yeah.
He did not go number one, but for us, he was number one. Obviously, Bazzana went number one, but we still had arms around Cags. And, that's just how we felt. But there's just not that guy. I mean, I mentioned Arnold, Arquette. Merrick Houston has really improved. He's a high floor guy. He's a lockdown defender. His bat is improved, but is it an everyday big league bat? On the right club, probably. I fell in love with Cade Anderson against Oklahoma, but then he came off that 135 pitch outing against Oklahoma. Wasn't so hot this last weekend. Kyson Witherspoon has been rising throughout the entire season, fall, this spring. He gets better and better. But I'm not sure I know none of those guys am I ready to just embrace as number one. So it's been a I don't say confusing, but it's been a fun year trying to figure out who is number one. And we have 6 weeks left to figure out, plus the conference tournaments, regionals, etc. So we're getting there. It
must be getting the scouting directors and the special assistants, cross checkers, like very busy because you have to continue to go in, and it's one of those years like how blessed. Or it's almost luck, right? Like, hey, in this year and 2 years ago, right? Skeens picking at 3, like we can't go wrong, right? And even going beyond that, the Max Clarkson, Walker Jenkins, the top 5, like, hey, what a great year for us to be in the top 5. We don't have to think all that hard versus this year where, hey, we need to put some thought into this. And in the past where, hey, Paul Skeens is going at 1, maybe we get this guy here because we're planning for this, this, and this. We really have to have our tiering set and tight because there's going to be a lot of depth to this draft, especially from the high school side. I think we'll dive into this just with how good the shortstops are, the athletes. I do think there's a ton of value, but the lack of slam dunks, as you're talking about, is definitely going to lead to some sleepless nights because I think some of these high school guys are going to go early and you're going to have to wait some time to figure out if that was the right decision.
Yeah, and every year is the same, and that guys go up and down, right? Like guys rise, guys fall. But this year, Tyler Bremer, loved him last summer with the USA Collegiate National Team. He was just outstanding, up to 97, 98. Awesome, 70-grade changeup. I called it a sweeper. He had a sweeper, he had a slider. I think he even showed kind of a curveball. I mean, he's a low slide guy, so it's hard to say it's curve, whatever. It's more sweeper. But you get the point. But he was one of the top 3 in the country for me. But he's even fallen to the point, not only in my eyes, but the industry's eyes, is guys that didn't see him, teams that were picking in the top half of the first round. I'm talking to some of their people now. They pick in the bottom half of the first round. Now they're going in to see him on a cross-check in the scouting director level. They're staying away from him early, right? Just like, hey, he's not going to be there. Why waste our resources? But now they got to go see him because that's kind of where he's probably going to end up. And that's going to be a good value if he rekindles that magic he had last summer and then as a sophomore as well. But it's just that type of year. Level A, I'm not saying he's second half of the first round, but he's not living up to the 1-1 or even 1-5 at this point, right? So there's a lot of scrambling in the industry as well.
Yeah, and I think guys further down are going to get excited about that. You talked circling back to make oh shoot, we may actually get this guy. You look at Nick Kurtz is killing it for the A's, right? Oh, Nick Kurtz, the injury, all this stuff. Well, he's going to be in the big leagues probably this year. You talk about Cags, who probably has a chance to get up at some point this year as well, too, if the Royals keep winning there on the back of Bobby Witt Jr., the generational talent, my personal favorite. But I just want to start off, and we're going to get into those college guys first because it's going to be a high school heavy at the end of the show here. But looking at the draft class as a whole, one of the big things that I take away from it, it is prep heavy. Kind of feels like 2023 with just how good the position players are up top, but I think there's even more depth than 2023. But I'm in the opinion that this is one of the better prep classes in recent memories. It's deep with premium guys and frontline talent. My plan going in would be to attack the prep position guys up top. This is in stark contrast to recent years where most guys are going to go with the less risky college guy, right? And then you hit the supplement round, second round. Hey, we can attack kind of those riskier guys. I don't think they'll be around. So now you have to start worrying about like, hey, these shortstops up top from the prep side, we need to get them maybe in the top 10. We have to get them early. We may have to pull this guy who we think's more of an 18 to 30, but we love him up top. We're going to get him and this other guy. That's where I'm at. And I know, Seif, we've talked about in the past how much, hey, getting the best talent up top, get especially the college guys, and a lot of the teams we're looking at, no, they're going to college, right? If you're out in the mix, Seif, you would definitely be, hey, this team's college. They're going to get a college guy. But this may be the year where they go, hey, no, this is the time where we need to go out and get a high school guy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to the 22 draft, right? When there's really no consensus number one collegiate. Because if you look at 2024, right? We always talked about Cags. Bazana went 1-1, but it was really the talk in 2024 was which college guy is going to go 1-1. Same with 23 with Skeens, Langford, Cruz, right? I know we had the outfielder that the Tigers took. Help me out here. The kid from Indiana. Come on, shooter. Outfielder from Indiana.
I'm Max Clark.
Thank you. So those were the four names up top we were talking about, right? But in 2022, there really wasn't that guy, Holiday ended up going number one. Mm-hmm. But, as far as the collegiate, it was like Kumar Rocker, Cade Horton, Jacob Berry, Brooks Lee. Those were some of the top college guys, but not everybody was all in on those guys. So as a draft, I think it's going to be like 2022. And to your point, a lot of preps are going to be considered not only in the first top 10 picks, but definitely top 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. It's interesting, and I was going to bed the other night thinking Corona High School is such a great team. So many talented guys, potential first rounders, and we've talked about like Brady Ebel, Billy Carlson, Seth Hernandez have a chance to be the first 3 guys from high school taken in the first round, right? I was like, what if Carlson went 1-1? Shortstop, can stick at shortstop, obviously, can hit, the power's starting to show. What if he and Seth Hernandez went back-to-back? It'd be like a really cool story. I don't know if it's going to happen. I was just going to throw that on the board. Like, hey, the Nationals start thinking like we're doing that at 1. Maybe we get this here, and we're going to bring in 5 other picks. And the Angels, who are just attacked pitching recently, you look at what Hunter Green's doing right now with the Reds in the past couple of years. He's been outstanding. He won the 2nd pick from Southern California. All of a sudden, this guy's the same high school going 1-2. But I'm just putting that out there. There's probably some guys will be like, oh, no way it's going to happen, whatever it may be. But it would be a fascinating look to see. Seif, and for all you listening right now, before the show, we talk about a little order. We're going to go and stuff. Routinely, I just throw it out the window and I just tee Seif up with, no, we're going to go in a completely different direction, which is what I'm going to do right now because we're going to dive into those high school shortstops right off the bat because I think it'll pair well with some of the guys that you want to talk about from the college side. They're a little bit safer, or they're the tier 1, tier 2. Where do they come in? This is a really talented group of high school shortstops, and I'm going to pull up the list right now on prepbaseball.com. Check out the Draft HQ site. Where you can comb through some of the top talent in the country, especially in this prep side. But you start looking at the shortstops in this group, it's a really good bunch. And you start looking at like Steele Hall at 10, I mean, shoot, sounds like he's a slam dunk first rounder. He's a 6'4" runner, reclassed up from 26 to 25. Absolute baller, gamer, can do it all. Coy James, who's probably one of the more polarizing kids in the class. If you start asking the scouting community, what we love him, we're not sure. I'm a huge fan. Prep baseball All-American. It's freaky power and athleticism. I think that's something to really buy in on. Gavin Feen, who can really swing it from the right side, a kid who just expects success. There's power there. I always liken him to Gavin Grohovac, where, hey, we're not sure about him in college. I think what Gavin Grohovac has done in college has only helped amplify what Gavin Feen can do in high school. And I think that'll help mitigate some of the risk for some of the teams. Like, hey, this guy can really do it. Aiden West, a guy we really love. Quentin Young, more of a third baseman, but shoot, I would send him off at shortstop. He's another reclass guy, Seif, but unteachable talent. 2 years ago, I would have said he would have been at the top of this list. It was just unbelievable separation from him. He's continued to get better. But at the top, Ethan Holiday, Brady Ebel, Kason Cunningham has a chance to be a top 10 pick. Billy Carlson, top 10 pick. Josh Hammond keeps playing himself into a top 15 pick. He's just an absolute gamer. What not to like about him? Eli Willits, shoot, if you started hearing his name in the top 5, another reclass kid, switch hitter. You were just talking about Jackson Willits, his brother, and the advancements that he's made. Son of a coach. We talked about him last week. Xavier Nyans had 3 jacks the other day. Xavier Nyans to me is like, the ceiling is so high. That's what you're looking for, right? In the top half of the draft, this guy's a difference maker, and we can get depth pieces. We can pay whatever it may be in free agency. If you hit on a guy like Xavier Nyans, that is worth its weight in gold. JoJo Parker, who from the Super 60, I've talked ad nauseum about it, to where he is now, the advancements he's made, the stretch that he's made with the hands. I can't say enough. I put up a video, and Rhett the Jet, our producer, you can throw that video up right into here with Carter Johnson from a year ago with JoJo Parker. Very similar. Parker's probably a better athlete, and I think he's even more physical than Carter Johnson is. Nicky Becker, who's a Northeast kid, cold weather. I'll have a chance to go see him, whether it's this year or in 3 years. The UVA guys have done such a great job with those hitters. Lucas Franco's another name from Houston area, a guy who keeps rising. Daniel Pierce, who I just can't see going outside of the top 60 picks. He continues to rise. It is such a strong class, Seif, of prep shortstops.
That's amazing. I mean, 10 times as much as I do, about at least 10 times as much about the prep class, but you just reeled off like 8 guys that are likely first rounders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's at least 8 guys. That's crazy.
Talk to me now, like, because you kind of have to separate it, right? Like, hey, is Ethan Holiday, he's not getting to us, right? So then we go to the next tier, this group. How much separation is there between a Kason Cunningham, Billy Carlson, Josh Hammond, right? Because if there's enough separation, maybe we get this guy later. We talk about those 16 supplemental picks. There's a lot of teams that are dancing around there. But I'm of the opinion, like, you kind of have to attack these guys early, because if you are the Rockies, the Marlins, the Blue Jays, Reds, whoever it may be, like, those guys are not getting back to you. The White Sox, like, hey, a guy like Xavier Nyans is not going to be there at your next pick. But you know who will be there? Danny Dickinson. Like, a group, and we'll talk about those college guys. Like, we can get some of those guys. They're really good. There's really good value, but there's a bigger bunch of them. So I do think that this class is very strong. And I think it will continue to show itself because it's a little spread out. You've had some guys reclass, right? Steele Hall comes in at the winter break and says, no, I'm going for this year's draft. And all of a sudden, glad we had some notes from USA and whatnot throughout the summer. But his track record is outstanding. He's an absolute gamer. Can't wait to see what happens with him. JoJo Parker, so many guys who have great makeup from that standpoint. But huge fan of those guys. The other thing I want to talk to you about, Seif, is speed. And just the speed and bat to ball concept, and the early adopters of the shift of the speed oriented philosophy with the strong bat to ball capabilities, I feel like has driven even more value into these compact frame guys who can do it. And there's a kid out by me here in the Northwest, Slater DeBrun, who's an outfielder, left-handed hitter, can really run, brings energy to the diamond at all times. He's just like almost like a Lenny Dykstra. Think back, like it's like Lenny Dykstra out there mixed with some Drew Gilbert a little bit. in recent years. Just gets after it from the left side, gives great times, can run. Still needs some polishing to his game, right? He's from Bend, Oregon. It's just not quite as much big play, but he's a guy where, hey, speed has become an asset in this game. And it's not just him. There's also Blaine Bullard is a kid from the Houston area, switch hitter. He continues to rise. Anthony Pack down in Southern California can really go get it in center field. John Stutzer, who we got to see at the Super 6, who I think is going to really be able to go get it in center field. But what do you think about this shift towards, hey, the bat to ball speed guys who can maybe swipe some bags? What value do you see in that?
Well, I think just like, COVID wasn't a fun time, but it did put kids in the lab, so to speak, right? They trained. They figured out like, oh gosh, I can train, I can add velocity, right? So since COVID, we've seen just a crazy amount of guys. Right now in the Division I baseball heat sheet, there are 94 college pitchers, and we haven't seen them all, that throw 97 or better, have touched 97 or better. There's 94. Like 4 years ago, there wasn't even 94 that were 95 or 96 or better. So with that, they went in the lab and they trained to develop more bat speed, right? So they found out like, gosh, we can develop bat speed. All along, we've always known that you can train speed, right? We just go to the history of running the 100-yard dash, right? It improves. Yep. We knew how to train for speed to get faster, our running speed faster, right? I think we didn't know so much that you could actually adjust this, adjust that, train this for bat speed and pitching speed. So I think we're at that point where like you go get the fast guy. There's a correlation between speed and defense. So you get the guy that can run. He can play defense. You got bat to ball, so now you develop the bat speed, and you got a guy that can hit the ball at ballpark. So I do like the logic, and I do like the strategy of going for those types, certainly.
It's really a get back to first principles with the thing. Bat to ball, he puts it in play, he can run fast.
And if he gets bigger, stronger, faster doing this, then he's going to put the bat to the ball hard consistently. He's going to go from an average exit velocity of, let's say, 100 to 103, right? Like, so yeah, I totally understand
those swing decisions, and you grab an aggressive athlete like DeBrun is, it will be interesting to see what teams do, especially in the back half of this first round, as we have talked almost ad nauseum about, and we will in the future, a couple episodes about specific teams, like here are some plans that these guys can do, how do we bolster the farm system, but let's shift over to some of the college talk. And some stuff that you wanted to check in on. Where do the high floor collegians begin to be picked? And based off what I just told you about what I would do, hey, we are grabbing these high school guys early because they won't come back to us, and then we'll get those. What do you think about those high floor collegians? And name a couple of them.
Well, I think the top guy, Merrick Houston, obviously he's got a high floor because the defense is, it's his carrying tool. So defensively, Merrick Houston is going to be a big leaguer. I mean, barring injury or something just crazy happening, he'll play in the big leagues for numerous years. How much he's going to hit, is he going to be an everyday guy on a good team? Is he going to be an all-star? I think that's all debatable. But as far as the other guys that are high floor, my top two would be Danny Dickinson, who you mentioned earlier, and Devin Taylor. Dickinson from LSU, Taylor from Indiana. If you look at their track history, those are my two tier one guys. If you look at their history, they've always hit since freshmen. They've always put up numbers. They've been consistent with their power, been consistent with their bat to ball, their walks greater than their strikeouts, all those things. So I'm not sure where those guys start, but I know a similar guy was James Tibbs last year, and Tibbs went 13th overall. Again, each year is a different draft, right? This year we have 8 prep shortstops that could go in the first round. So that's going to provide a little buffer at the top. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying Dickinson or Taylor are going to go 13th. So it's, again, different draft. But those are my tier one high floor guys, infielders, right? And then my next tier, Caden Bodine, catcher at Coastal Carolina. Ethan Petrie, your favorite outfielder from South Carolina, and Ike Irish can bang it from Auburn, whether he sticks behind the dish or he's an outfielder. He's not the best defensively either place, but his bat speaks loud, and they're going to transfer into pro ball probably seamlessly. So those really 5 are kind of my highest floor guys. There are other high floor guys, but those are the ones we'll stick to at this point. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, shoot.
No, those are good picks, and it's what you really have to dive into the details of, like evaluating those prep guys versus those safer picks. Like, oh, we really like this, and it's funny how you quantify, like, right, like, hey, we really like Ethan Petrie. You can find some negatives, and then he hits the ball really hard. Like, you find all, if you like him, you bring all those positives in. You get him to fit a model. Again, the amount of picks that teams have, and even like I'm looking at the Angels or the Nationals pick at 1, and then they don't pick again until 49. The Angels pick at 2, they don't pick again until 47. And what's interesting for those who are not fully, and I would think anybody who's listening to us right now is probably fairly familiar with the MLB draft, but like those second picks for them are essentially going to be first rounders. Like, you're looking at 47, 49. They'll save some money up top at 1 and 2, right? It's going to be a significant pick at 47, even though it shows the second round. So, like, I do think there's value there. But what about the pitching side of the collegians? The for sure big league pitchers, barring injury.
Yeah. Again, we go. Yeah, exactly. We go for sure big leaguers, but like, yeah, unless they get injured. I mean, Jamie Arnold's a slam dunk with a starter reliever. I mean, his stuff just plays, right. He's going to get guys out at the big league level, and sooner rather than later, just with the explosiveness of his stuff. I have him as a starter, but again, like you're talking draft him, put him in the major league pen for the playoffs. He could be that guy. Kyson Witherspoon has been amazing. He's a 4-pitch guy, athletic, smart, aggressive, super competitive. He's been rising up since the fall. He's top half of the first rounder. Where do you want him? Get in line for this guy. Cade Anderson, again, we talked about his start 2 weeks ago. It was outstanding at Oklahoma. But he's a lefty 4-pitch guy, throws strikes, got a hammer breaking ball, has a riding fastball. He can sink it a little bit too. And then the biggest, probably most impactful, but for me, he's pen impactful, is Liam Doyle from Tennessee. Some guys see him as a starter. I see that maybe in time, but I mean, if you want to impact a pen right away, Liam Doyle's got that swingless fastball. He can spin the slider a little bit too underneath the bat. So those are kind of my 4 for sure big leaguers. And those guys usually go in a hurry too in every draft. So, but none of those guys am I banking on as 1-1. So kind of a mixture there, but that's what we got as far as for sure big league pitchers.
Let me ask you about Liam Doyle, because I was watching him this past weekend, which this is the new age, new normal, right? He had to go back to Ole Miss, which was electric. What an incredible atmosphere there in Oxford throughout the weekend. Those guys played well, both sides. I'm looking at Tarek Skubal and Liam Doyle just like coming at you. I'm going to shotgun spray this fastball. I'm throwing it down the middle. Let's see if you can hit it. I'm going to see where it moves. Are there any similarities to those two?
Skubal is hurt, obviously. Was his sophomore year, so he missed the year before. So there wasn't a huge track record for him. Then he came back his draft year, and that's why he kind of fell, I think, 7th round or whatever.
Yeah,
we did pick him in the prep baseball simul draft. So he's.
Oh, did we really? That was a great pick by you.
He was I think he's like our 5th rounder in our simul draft that year. So
it was a definite miss by me, though. I remember going to see him up in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we sent
for another game. I got some video, and I was like, okay, really, this guy's pitching here, but.
Well,
it's more so like
we did pick him. We did pick him a couple rounds before the Tigers. So
if you are taking Liam Doyle, is that what you're hoping though? Like, we may hit on Skubal. It looks like the kid competes and is aggressive out there. Is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, because in all reality, and again, Liam Doyle is very, very good, but it's a mid upper 90s fastball, huge ride, swing and miss, and he spins a slider. But that's really his arsenal. So it's 2 pitches. He's got more of an efforty and a relieverish delivery.
Yeah.
But I say that's kind of a traditional look at him, right? That's the 5-10-year-old look. Now, I hate to say anybody can be a starter, but there are a lot more efforty guys. Obviously, we go back to Max Scherzer. People didn't think he was a starter. That's probably the biggest example. But there are more guys thrown with more effort that are starters now. So I'm not saying Liam Doyle is not a big league starter. But I'm just saying, if you do more of the traditional, that's kind of where he's at. But yeah, he's certainly a 50 innings in the minor league guy at most. Put him up there in the big leagues and just see what he's got, and he's going to be able to do it out of the pen sooner than as a starter. But big fan of Liam Doyle. I just he's not 1-1, but he's certainly somewhere in the 115th overall. 5 picks, 7 picks either direction.
What about so like Jamie Arnold? I'm looking at the draft, right? The up top, Nationals, Angels, Mariners, Rockies, and I start thinking about Chase Dollander. And Chase Dollander's come up. Didn't have the best junior year, right? Compared to his sophomore year, gets drafted, goes down to where the Rockies are. Now he's like risen up very quickly. But I started thinking about, okay, well, Jamie Arnold has that fastball, that flat vertical approach, all this stuff going for him. Would he fit into like Coors Field?
I don't think he does. He's the fly ball guy, right?
Yeah.
But they obviously picked him, and I think they had that mindset for so many years. Like, hey, let's get get sinker ballers here, guys to play against the altitude and the carry on the baseball. But I think Tyler Bremner is probably the Chase Dollander of 2025, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, Dollander fell a little bit, Bremner's fallen a little bit. But now Donner's risen back up as one of the top guys. I think Bremner's that guy this year.
Well, what's funny is you start looking at the draft and you came out of the summer thinking, dude, this guy may go 1-1. Like Bremner has all this stuff. And all of a sudden now the Rays are sitting at 14. Like, yeah, keep saying he's not pitching good. Everybody keeps saying all this because we'll gladly put him in the system and turn him into a Cy Young.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I saw this past summer. I was there. I was locked in. He has not been that guy this spring. But I know what I saw, and if you've seen it once, I saw it for 2 innings in a row. So if you've seen it once, it's in there. It's just gotta come out again, and hopefully sooner rather than later for Bremner in his pocketbook.
And then this is a random thought that just popped me. Like I'm thinking about Seth Hernandez, and you've seen the video, you got to see him in person, and kind of a new shift towards like, hey, we're not going to baby these guys anymore. Like these high school guys, we're going to get them going. And Seth Hernandez is really good. And it's four pitches for a strike. Like all of them are going to grade out above average. Like there's so much good that comes. I'm curious how quickly a team would move him, right? What if the Angels take him at 2? What have the Angels been doing for the last 3 years? Just rolling guys in the big leagues.
I think you can move him more quickly because he is more advanced. But at the other side, you got to add up his innings that he's pitching as a sophomore, junior, senior. And I'm a really big believer in the no more than 15. 20% increase year to year. So, that's got to be part of his development plan too. And if you move him quickly and he's in AAA or even the big leagues when he's 20 years old, I still think you need to shut him down at some point or give him like 2 or 3 weeks off during the season. And I can't name the pitchers they've done that for in the past, but it's been done in the past before with certain guys, whether shutting them down early or just you're limiting their usage at midseason.
Seif, this has been an absolute zany ideas coming from Shooter episode here that we've been throwing out with 1-2, Carlson, Hernandez. But like Angels, you did it with Ryan Johnson. Just take Seth Hernandez right from Corona, right up over to the big leagues. He can go pitch in August and September, but not going to happen. But I mean, Caden Dana, kid in 22, who we love, New Jersey kid, one of my favorites. 22, he made his big league debut last year on the bump. Like that was 2 years in the making. Seth Hernandez is way further along and more polished than he is. It becomes a very fascinating thing to follow. But anyway, it was one of those just random ideas of sitting watching a game. Like, I mean, what else this guy got to prove? Like, yeah, he's going to get his feet wet, big opportunities in front of nothing phases him. So, you want to see him in the minor league uniform, but there's a chance that he could really fly quickly throughout an org. And I'm staring at the Angels here. But the draft in general, it's again, we're going to harp on this leading all the way up to July. The whole encompassing draft is going to have to be looked at, right? You have to step back and say, what can we acquire here? What kind of value? You look at the fact that the Orioles have 2 supplemental picks at 30 and 31. That gets exciting. The Diamondbacks are at 29 again. The Brewers are picking at 32. Dodgers go 40 and 41. All of a sudden, they don't have a first rounder. Their first picks are at 40 and 41. Hey, there's 2 more first rounders that we just added to the list where they price themselves out maybe at 30 to 35, and the Dodgers just came into play with money in the bank. So there's so much that we will be diving into throughout this, but we will be sure to bring up as much up-to-date information as we can. I know, Seif, you got a busy schedule coming up. Before I wrap up, make sure you go to shop.prepbaseball.com for all your prep baseball needs. Seif, get a great hat on, rocking the polo. You can see my favorite hat in the back, the white rope hat, which I'm trying to get some more colors made for that so I can just be the Mr. Rogers of the prep baseball hat.
I'm
But
still waiting for my St. Patty's Day shirt that you were rocking a few weeks back. So is it in the mail, Shooter?
You know what, Sipe? You may have to move on to like a Mother's Day version at this point. We're starting to get closer to that.
It was my birthday, and I didn't get anything for my birthday, so I'll move on. I'll move on to Father's Day. How's that?
There you go. We get a Father's Day, a nice little baby blue action for you. But what do you have coming up? You said you're going to Nashville. You're obviously not just going for the nightlife. What are we seeing in Nashville?
We're heading down to Georgia. Georgia's at Vandy this week, and they actually start tonight and then go through Saturday, with Easter on Sunday. So I'll be watching a little Georgia, the upstart Bulldogs. Georgia's a funny club because they do have players, don't get me wrong, but besides Trey Phelps, they don't really have that guy, first, second rounder. And Phelps hasn't played to that role, yet this season, but he was their guy going in. But they just have a great lineup. They got some arms. They got a lot of hard throwers led by Curley on Fridays. He's a transfer from Virginia Tech who throws 100. So just looking forward to seeing. And then Vandy's obviously has their guys, guys every year led by RJ Austin offensively this year. So it should be a really good series.
You know what, Sam? I'm looking forward next week to a nice RJ Austin versus Corbin Dickerson breakdown, who we like better, where we're going to have them. We are going to save it for next time, but that Georgia lineup, they don't get cheated, and they put some stress on some arms in a hurry.
They certainly do. Yes.
I will be heading to the Northeast next week. Have a lot of arms coming out of there, a little Nikki Becker action. But be sure to check out prepbaseball.com and Draft HQ, especially. Sife's got his great college notebooks rolling out. You can check in on Corbin Dickerson in that because that is the buzz name right now. But until next time, Sife, enjoy your time in Nashville. Get some of that hot chicken. That might warm you up there if it gets cold. But until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.